Look, I found my old VSC sign.
Ooh.
Just for, you know, whatever. I was going to say words that I don't like to say online. So, or on YouTube. So, hello.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. I am wearing my Wonder Woman mask today. Because that's what I wear when I brave the post office. When I can, is my mask. And the new Wonder Woman is maybe still coming out this fall.
Yeah.
And they have, but their colors are not red so much. It's kind of like black and gold or something. I was looking for cowl patterns for the newsletter, and I saw a really cool cowl with W's, and I was like, ooh, it's a Jimmy Beans exclusive, and it's not available till September. Anyway, look that up if you're a Wonder Woman fan. But I went, ooh. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Sun Dragon Sideshow
VSC edition.
Almost stole her thunder. This is where we sell you stuff. I'm not even gonna be subtle about it.
Not today.
Not today.
Subtle is for Tuesday, Thursday, Tuesday night, Friday night.
VSC stands for Virtual Shopping Channel, kind of like QVC adjacent. For people who know what QVC is, if you're young, you may not. Just let it go. Anyway. Yeah, I used to live in Pennsylvania near where QVC, one of the hubs was. So, anyway. Hi, I'm Rebecca. I am the owner of Sun Dragon Art and Fiber in lovely, sunny, for the moment, downtown Brevard, North Carolina.
I'm Liz. I'm the minion at Sun Dragon Art and Fiber in mostly sunny Brevard, North Carolina.
Yeah, it poured yesterday, and it's going to pour
at some point
today. So, but we always say the slogan is not Brevard, the land of waterfalls, which is the official slogan. It's Brevard, the land where waterfalls.
All the time.
No trademark for me because I didn't make that up. I heard that and said I'm going to steal it. So, yeah. So anyway, yeah, this is what some of our knitters and crocheters call the really dangerous show, because we show you cool stuff that we have. And then we try to get it up online, and then you can buy it. So, ooh, I had a thought about another yarn I'm going to try to get online. But we're not QVCing today. The Perth.
Yes.
Yeah.
Perth
and Heritage Wave. I don't know.
Perth.
Side note, the lovely waving fingering weight ones that we use for the papillons. I'm sorry, I went to the post office, so I can't think straight right now. But I had wonderful coffee this morning. The coffee tasted supremely excellent this morning, I must say. Her husband makes me fresh coffee.
I'm not sure what
I don't know if it was.
Sometimes it's the beans.
Sometimes it's the beans, and it's a new country. Yay! And it could be that it was fresher than. Sometimes on the weekend it stays in my fridge for a few days before I get to it. This was delivered yesterday, so it was nice. Anyway, some of our fadey yarns that we're not talking about today, I'd like to try to get in the shop for you to buy before the sale runs out for August, because it's 20% off with the code WOW 3 years at checkout until the end of August. And our next QVC, maybe we'll show you the colors on the next QVC, but you won't save the 20%. So, side goal, we'll see. Let's turn to what we're actually going to talk about today.
Well, we got a nifty notion that Rebecca's been playing with.
Oh, we're doing the notion first?
Well, why don't you do the notion first? Rebecca's been having a lot of fun with it.
I have. It's if you don't want to wind your yarn fast, this is the tool for you.
Or you don't feel like handballing it, and you can
if with enough practice, which I have not had enough of yet. This you can end up with a cake like the ones we're going to show off for you today, which you would get on a winder. But you can do it by hand. So instead of handballing and you have to go from the outside, you can get a center pull ball from this Nostepin. And as Carol has pointed out, you can do this, you can have what we call low-tech hacks for this with other round objects. But this is specifically designed to be held and have your ball wound up here. It's called a Nostepin, which Nest Stick is what it translates to. Ours are by Chowgu. They're a nice wood, but I can't remember what. I'm sure it comes with instructions to kind of guide you out. There's some very good YouTube videos for this. One of our knitters had one that kind of showed in the middle of it of doing other spinning things, how to do it. But I'm gonna attempt to wind this on this. It'll be fun because I haven't done a super bulky, and we'll just see. But essentially, so these are mine doesn't have price tag on it because I took it home before oh no, the price tags are on the packaging. I want to say they're $12.25.
They're 12 something.
Who cares about change, right? It's 12 something. No, I'm serious. So here, let me show you this as quickly as I can, or I might have to wind while we're talking. You hold the tail, the center pole you want in your hand, and then you wind. The little tag here says to wind about a 1/2 inch to 1 inch horizontally. Like if it was held this way, it'd be horizontal. I'm holding it this way. And the first time I did this, I thought it meant just the width on the stick, but it really means you need a little bit of girth on the stick before you can start doing what they call the oblong angles. And so I'm getting a little bit going here. Maybe, I mean, because it's bulky, I don't even know. And then you can hold it like this, and you can, this is pulling on me, right, by the way. So, but then you can go at an oblong angle, and you twist as you go. And it actually kind of looks like, I mean, I know the detail may not be great because I'm really far away from the camera. It'll end up looking like one you do on the crank winder, you know? And you just kind of get the habit of turning and pulling. And like I'm going up on the side close to me and down on, just leave it there, it's fine.
Okay.
It's actually better gravity for me. And as I go, as I get enough girth here, I'm gonna try not to go all the way to the wood. I'm gonna try to start wrapping around the outside edge of this so that it can become more of a cake and not so much of a football. I learned that the hard way the first time I tried one of these. This super bulky is actually a lot easier. I've been winding like sport weight and it takes forever. And this super bulky, this is a great way to start and practice. Oh my gosh, I'm having so much fun with this right now.
You were correct. They are $12.25.
Yes. Is there anything? It's sliding a little bit on the Nostepin if I pull too hard. And it's not going to be a perfect looking, you know, it's not going to be as perfect as doing it on the winder that has the right angle for everything. I'm sure if I practiced enough, I would get this down. Yeah, see, it just shifted on me a little. So it's not going to be quite as pretty as I was hoping. But I'm very pleasantly pleased with this, and I can't come up with new words because I'm focusing on this. But oh, that's the end. Ha ha! That's why I picked. Grams. This is one of the. This might go in one of our. This was pulled from prep for one of our mystery minion bags of mystery. So I knew it wasn't going to be that much. But see, now that I'm done. I like tucking the out. If I'm going to pull from the inside, I'm going to tuck the outside because that will want to come undone. But then look what I made. Isn't that cute? And I can pull it off and I can pull from the center, or I can stuff that in, you know, if I need to keep this and not use it right away. So this is $12.25 and you can have a meditative experience with it. I will tell you, after doing a whole 100-gram skein of really thin yarn, my arm hurt a little bit. What do you want to say?
But winding 100 grams of sock yarn, even on a crank winder, if it's your first couple of times, like this arm can wind. This arm.
But this is $12.25. Our plastic winders, which are very serviceable for like normal size skeins of yarn, are about $40 to $45. Our wooden winders, like the one I'm pointing at what we use in the shop, you can't see it, but it's right next to the computer that's filming this right now, are about $105 to $130.
Well, and something like
they handle big things here.
We're talking about winders. Like the other bit that you would need
is a Swift.
Something to hold your skein on.
Yeah, like one of these skeins opens to a big band, and you need something to hold it that can rotate while you wind. Like at home, I have what's called an umbrella swift. It kind of accordions out, and I use that on I just realized I was going to put a link to the Facebook thing we did this weekend in my newsletter, and it didn't happen. So just excuse me while I squirrel for a minute. It's on Facebook though. If you want to go back and look at the weekend where I was winding a little thing with this, and it took me like an hour.
And there are low tech hacks as well for that, but we sell 2 kinds of Swifts.
We have Swifts. Sorry, I got off track from the Swifts. How are we going to sell you things if I can't keep my focus because I was doing this? We have the umbrella Swifts in a couple different sizes, and we actually have one I just got as a tester from Knitter's Pride that has a little crank at the top, so you can just let it spin while you're winding your yarn. Or if you have a lot of loose yarn that you want to put into a twist because it lives better like that until you want to use it, or you've spun your own yarn.
You've spun your own yarn and you
can start it on that, and then you can crank it up onto that and then take it off and twist it. Anyway. So, and what's the other type of Swift we have?
The other type of Swift we have is an Amish Swift.
Yes.
And they're my favorite.
The one we have in the shop is an Amish Swift. It's fancier than the one we sell because we need one that's going to put up with a beating, and it can be bigger.
I use the one we sell at home, and I love it. It has tall pegs, so it will hold a bigger.
It's basically skein. I think the name Amish. I'm sure there's more history to it, but I think it's referencing that it's simple.
Simple. It's just 2 sticks crossed with 4 pegs
on two sticks that cross for the base.
And it just turns.
And you can adjust it this way by moving the pegs. And I mean, we were going to show it all to you. I was like, let's show everything. And then we would have to unpack it. And it was going to be too complicated to show here. If you really need to see something, if we get enough like votes and comments for certain things, we might show it next week. But, and then it collapses down. You might have already mentioned, and it goes in the corner.
But I love mine because I can sit it on the end of my bed if I'm sitting there watching TV, or on my footrest in the living room. If you
clear some space on a table or a surface,
or crank.
And then when you're done, you take it away. Most of the other things, we also just got this it looks like an Amish Swift, but it clamps to the table and it slides out. Things slide, so you have in between settings instead of where the pegs are. But we find the pegs work 90%. All of this to say, I've put all of these things on our website under a new category of Swifts and winders. We have limited supply right now because they're expensive, some of the upper end ones, so we don't have a ton in the shop. Well, you could save 20% until the end of August. So, but this was the new fun tool. We've got tons of these. So, if you want to have a meditative winding ability with a center pull and get to know your yarn really well. Ta-da!
I love winding my own yarn because,
and this is like my 4th or 5th attempt at this.
It looks so good.
I'm very pleased with it.
And it's not perfect, learn about your yarn.
I know. I got to learn that there are no ties in this little batch of yarn, and it's going to be wonderful to knit with because it's nice and smooth.
Does it shed?
Does it this?
Shed.
That's the sign for shedding. No. That's the Liz sign for shedding. I didn't seem to. I mean, it's fluffy. I know from experience this yarn is going to pill eventually because it's a single ply, it's soft twist. This is Sugar Bush Chill, by the way. Not online yet. We'll see.
We have some yarns that when you wind them and you're holding tension on the winder,
they'll fluff off.
They'll fluff
I'll
off.
be covered in fluff.
They'll shed a bit. Yeah. But you get to learn that
with poofy
when you're winding your yarn.
Yes, I'm sorry. I talked over. We should get to the yarn because I have a customer coming for a lesson in 35 minutes. Can't tell. So I ran off to the post office and said, Liz, find a yarn for today.
So yesterday, one of our knitters, shout out to Carol, came up to pick out a mohair to match with sock yarn for sleep socks or house socks, whatever. And I was like, fingering weight yarn for socks, never gonna happen. So,
but here's the thing about sock content, fingering weight sock weight yarn, not all fingering weight is sock content, and sock content tends to be a mixture of wool. In most of the shop stuff we have, it's going to be superwash merino wool and nylon. A little bit of nylon for strength. I think we've talked about it on the show before, for stability, to keep you from having saggy heels, to keep it from wearing out quite as fast. So that's what makes it sock content. And usually people associate that with sock weight, really thin. This says no.
I have had a problem. Like, there's no way I'm going to use needles I don't believe exist to make socks.
And also
out of tiny yarn.
Yes, and tiny yarn for socks. While the thin is nice to fit in your shoes, it takes a stinking long time. And if that's your thing, that's fantastic and meditative and wonderful. But like last year for Christmas, I actually used one of the yarns that she pulled out to make socks for almost my whole family. And it's thicker, so it went faster.
I was very happy to learn that there is sock content in
thicker weights.
Mm-hmm. So one of the oldest that we've had in the shop, oldest, like the longest time we've had it in the shop, is DK Socks Yeah.
It's called Sock Yeah DK because it's like, make socks out of DK weight yarn.
Yeah.
We have to explain that to people. Why are you sorry?
Because I said DK Socks Yeah, and it's Socks Yeah DK.
If you search those items on our site in some order, it will probably bring this up once I get it online.
I'm making leg warmers out of these. Been making leg warmers for like 3 years. They're still not done. But
which means there's still inventory in the shop.
No,
because she hasn't used up enough to get more.
Yeah.
No, sorry. I'm making bad jokes. I suppose.
These are 50 gram. Mm-hmm. So if you're gonna make socks, you might want to get 2.
I would get at least 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, 1 for each foot. Hopefully that'll work. But the nice thing about that is you'll know just how far one skein gets you. If you start making like a cuff down sock out of one of these and you run out, you'd be like, oops. But yeah, I would think people always ask, especially even with fingering weight, they're like, so how much do I need? Can I get a pair? Like fingering weight, you're supposed to be able to get a pair out of 100 grams. And people ask that. And I say, well, it depends how long you want the cuffs to be. Like short socks, absolutely. Average size cuff socks from fingering weight, you're supposed to get it out of 100 grams. But if you like really tall socks, the answer is going to be no. And there's generic questions like that never have a simple answer.
It depends on your gauge. Like that we've had customers come in that, one ball of sock yarn won't make socks for her husband because he's a size 11.
He's got big feet.
And she made longer cuffs.
Yeah.
So
when we talk average, we're talking like small feet to big feet, somewhere in the middle. So, and that's not a commentary on anyone's foot size saying it's wrong. It's just saying one answer is not going to fit everybody. No. That's all.
Yeah.
So
the sock,
I digress.
Is $12.75.
From Coop Knits. We get it from the same people we get fiber spates from, which is kind of cool. It's nice stuff.
It is 75% fine superwash merino wool with 25% nylon. They're recommending a 3 to a 4.5 millimeter.
I'm going to show off some colors.
Needle. You get 122 yards per 50 grams.
You can't see the real color of this, by the way. It's gorgeous.
Machine washable. They're saying non-tumble dry, but
we got some grays. Most of these, not all, but most of these have kind of a heathery tone to them, which is pretty. Heather gives definition. It's the flecky stuff. Gives definition without here, let's do this. I love this green. This used to be like the it green a couple of years ago. I don't see why it can't still be that. It's this really bright. Everything on camera, I will say, what I'm seeing on camera, this is all a little bit warmer. I found the same thing when I take photos. In real life, it's a little warmer. I try to adapt the photos I take to reflect that. Warmer and brighter, by the way. Like this is much brighter than I can see on the camera right now.
Will say we only have one of the dark blue.
Of the dark blue? This one? No. Oh, this one's pretty. Only one. Make one sock for one person. For someone who only has 1 foot. That'll work.
I don't know how that.
Are your leg warmers in that blue?
That blue and the bright green.
So,
but I think
may or
we've
may
had
not,
other people come in and buy the blue.
Yes, we have. We may or may not get more of that in. It may be what we have is what we have. So get it while it's here. And oh, by the way, for Christmas, when I made those thick socks, we're gonna use the next yarn that major yarn we're gonna move to. And I was also thinking about them for hiking socks. Although I don't know how much hiking my mom and dad have done in them, but they're big hikers. And you often want thicker socks to prevent rubbing and chafing on your ankles and your feet in the hiking boots. So that also is an excellent option. I held together some wool with some mohair, wool that didn't have nylon with mohair, like our knitter Carol is doing for my brother-in-law for Christmas. So, you know, there's options. Before we move on, this is DK weight. So it's a little thinner than worsted. Liz mentioned the needles and everything. I wanted to point out a yarn that we've already advertised on the QVC. And I said, oh, by the way, grab this. And Liz already had. So she'd already thought of this. Great minds think alike. Sugar Bush Festivity, the multicolor stuff that we have. These are excellent for the range of colors we have. We've got like 7 or 8 colors, something like that. It's sock content as well. DK weight, same weight as this. Could make some fun color work socks, maybe. But has the merino and the nylon. If instead of a solid, you would like something that's color changing and super fun. Not patterned, that's where we're headed next. Spoiler alert, but just variegated, and we'll give you multicolored socks.
I just realized this green would make fantastic toes in.
Oh yes, some people like to do toes and heels in a different, like a solid or something different. 50 gram with 100 gram, I think you get a pair of socks. Absolutely. Yeah. What a cool idea. Always thinking. So, Liz, always thinking.
It's what I do.
But the festivity, just to remind y'all, is 70% Superwash Merino, 30% nylon. It is, someone's making a papillon out of the bright red and orange and yellow of this, by the way. Check it out online. The colorway. The papillon I can't share with you because someone else making it, and it's on the Papillon Knit Along group on Facebook. It's gonna be awesome. This is suggesting US 6 4mm. It has 250 yards, and we're selling it for $21.95 online. But remember, in August you save 20%. So, wow, 3 years is the code. All right, so Liz is back to knitting with her mohair. Let's move on.
I'm waiting on you. My hands are getting twitchy. Hand me some of the Fair Isle.
Okay, so the Fair Isle's all under me. So we have this yarn called Fair Isle. I'm gonna give you all the blues. So the Fair Isle yarn is worsted weight sock content. This is what I made my Christmas socks out of. So it's a little thicker. And it's called Fair Isle because the yarn is dyed in a way that will make it look like you did fancy Fair Isle knitting, which is the name for when you're actually like changing colors every couple stitches or doing stripes and everything. So this is our sample, big reveal. This is a baby sweater I made out of the Fair Isle yarn. I actually made it out of this color. You see what that does. Whoop.
And just so everybody knows, these are 150 gram balls. So
it's bigger ball than usual,
yeah,
than we usually advertise.
Yeah.
The 50 grams are small. Usually it's 100 grams. This is 150 grams. This yarn, depending on how wide or how narrow you knit with it, will pattern in different ways. So I followed a pattern where I was knitting and purling or knitting in the round, and all I did was knit. I did not use multiple colors on this. I used one yarn on this. And this is kind of like, this is our reference when people come into the shop if they're not going to make a baby sweater. We say, okay, a hat will probably pattern like this. Socks will probably pattern like this. Because it all depends on the number of stitches, what it will do.
So we have 75% superwash wool, 25% nylon.
Let me note that is not merino. That is just wool, but that's okay.
It is still super
superwash. Superwash, making it machine washable means kind of stripping some of the scaling on wool, which is part of what can make wool kind of itchy.
And I plan to make socks out of this when I do, because this is going to hold up a little, because it is not a soft sheet.
Softer something is, the more likely it's going to pill. When someone says, I want yarn that is soft and won't pill, I say, I don't have that unicorn in my shop.
The other thing is I run around barefoot in the shop. So like in the wintertime, I wear socks.
And she goes, wee, trying to slide across the floor.
And so this sheet, these roving gangs of sheep that wound up in here are going to be a little bit hardier, so I don't wind up with holes in my toes.
Yes.
You get 246 yards for 150 grams. They're recommending a US 7 to 9 needles.
I think I used a 7 at least on mine. I might have gone down to a 6 because sometimes for socks you want it a little tighter, just a little tighter.
They're for crochet gauge. They do have a crochet gauge on here. It's an I to a K.
Disclaimer. If you crochet with this, it will not do the same. It's designed to pattern while knitting. It will do something cool if you crochet, but it may not look like you did single stitches and single colors, unless you single crochet, maybe.
Yeah, it doesn't even.
So
it's
just variegated.
I did not watch this, but Arnie and Carlos have a way to do granny squares out of sock yarn.
What?
That makes it look more like that than just crocheting
cool.
with it. I saw it was one of those, YouTube that I scrolled past, but there is a way
to make granny squares that look cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome to know.
So,
it was Granny Square Day recently, by the way. Totally missed it. But,
so you can do cool things with it in crochet, but if you're just going to crochet with the Fair Isle yarn,
it'll be
it's slightly disappointing when you want that.
Yeah.
It's
still cool.
It's still cool.
You still have colors.
Yeah.
That change.
Yeah.
Okay, so colors. I gave Liz all the blues.
We have a gorgeous blue-gray palette.
There's like a kind of periwinkle blue and gray. This one's very tealy and gray, and then that one is more pale blue and gray. So, like I said, this one it's called Sandcastle. This is very gender neutral. Most of those are more gender neutral. It depends on how you feel about teal and boys. I think it should be fine, but some people are very particular about that. And sorry, I got text distracted me. I'm not looking at the time. I have another way to check the time. Ha, okay. This is the color I use to make socks for my dad for Christmas. It is called Aquarium. We've got greens and grellos. It's a green yellow. And almost like a light teal kind of, and browns. This is the color I use to make Brian a pair of socks. And it has yellows and kind of oranges and greeny flecks. We've got Violet Hill, which is kind of fuchsia purples. Yay. We've got a nice red Carnival. It's reds and pinks. So it's reds, or it could be reds and lighter shades of red, depending on how you look at it.
It's my favorite.
We've got Sundance, which has greens, minty greens to darker greens, which I kind of like too. And we didn't list those names, but the tealy one, just real fast, the tealy one is Atlantis. Ooh, I like that.
The light blue and gray is Carousel.
And the more like powder blue
is Rain Dance.
Rain Dance.
It's like powder blue with bits of purpley periwinkle, and there's it's cool.
It's pretty. It's nice. So those are the colors we have in stock right now, and they're fun. And Liz just lost something on the floor. Okay. But yes, make it look, I call this the Rice Krispie yarn. No matter what weight it's in, because we have fingering weight stuff that does this. We have the worsted weight. That might be it.
We have some DK that we have the Adriafil.
Oh yes, we do.
But it's not sock content, and it is washable though.
It is washable though. Yeah, it's good for hats and gloves and things like that. I call it the Rice Krispie treat yarn because anyone who knows the Rice Krispie treat ad from like, I want to say the 80s or 90s, and it was the mom goes and hangs out in the kitchen because and everyone's like, you okay in there? She's like, I'm working hard, but Rice Krispie treats are so easy. She can fool everyone, and she still has to
flour on her face as she walks out.
As she goes out. Yes, and And so it's the Rice Krispie treat yarn, because I used to say it makes it look like you did a whole lot more work than, you know, and all, but all you did was knit, which is still work, by the way. It's still work, but it makes people think you did a lot more work than you did.
We've had people who came in with knitters. They weren't knitters, and they came in and they look at that sweater and they're like, but how many times did you change yarn?
It's like, you use so many colors, and it's like, nope,
it's like,
nope.
It's just one bow.
It's just one.
What? It's like magic yarn.
It still blows people away. Everyone should know about self-patterning yarn at this point, I think. And if you don't know about it, it's awesome. It's a great fake Fair Isle. There's two different things I call fake Fair Isle. One is self-patterning yarn. The other is mosaic knitting, because you're only using one color at a time. Different thing. Side note. Anyway. So these are wonderful things, and we are going to put them up online. And did we mention price? We did.
We did. They're $22.50, just in case I didn't.
I think you did, but I can't keep track. I'm keeping track of
the one thing I will say,
yes,
is these stripe. We do not have all of our Fair Isle yarn does the whole stripey thing, like the sweater. We don't have yarn that does nifty Fair Isle bits, like
not specific pattern.
Yeah,
right?
It's not specific pattern.
It's generic Fair Isle. It'll like this. The orangey and white bits look like you changed colors and did something fancy. If you want to have really regulated Fair Isle where the stitches like make a pattern, a cohesive pattern, or make like bunnies, or, you know, mushrooms or like
I've seen them.
That you actually, for our shop, you would have to do the color work yourself and pattern it out. I have white squirrel mittens somewhere. You're not going to find a yarn that is designed to do that. Like, there are yarns that are designed to do a fancy pattern, but your gauge has to be spot on. And for the number of people I know who don't want to test their gauge, it's not going to work. And then they're going to come yell at us, why didn't this work? And I'll say, did you make sure your gauge was right? And they'll say, what? So
yeah. I just wanted to throw that in there, because we have had people that
it won't be like, I want a checkerboard. It's not going to be perfect like that, but it's going to look really cool for a fraction of the work.
Yes.
So, you know, anyway, I think we're going to go so I can get ready for my lesson, and then I can get this up online for you all. So
I have so much to put away, and not just this.
I was going to say not my fault, but kind of my fault. So blame me completely.
I do.
I can't argue with that. I really can't. I'm the one who's ordering more yarn. So, yeah.
I don't help, because, like, you showed me yarn you were looking at the other day, and I was like, well, that's interesting. And you're like, yeah, that's what I thought. And then I'm like, does it come in red?
And I said, there's red and black. And, oh, you know, we're getting more yarn to the shop. We're getting excuse me, as I choke on myself. We're getting tester yarn to the shop. Don't get too excited, because we don't have a full palette of colors of this new yarn that we went, but we could. It might take a few weeks, but we could. We have to see if we like it first. Anyway, cliffhanger.
Dun dun dun.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna call quits on this VSC right now, so I can go get the Swifts and Winders are already up. Festivity is already up. I'm going to work on getting Soxia, DK, and Fair Isle up for y'all sometime today. If not today, tomorrow, but hopefully today. Okay. We miss y'all. I don't know what this was, but I'm trying to wave. I'm
like us
now. Subscribe, all that stuff. Last time I looked, we're at 402. Let's keep it going. You want to see us keep getting excited and yay, then keep subscribing. Okay.
Stay tuned for Adventures of Liz and Rebecca tomorrow.
I started a new show last night.
What? That's not a thing.
And let's see if I can get anything else done today, if I can go home. What?
And we have Becky and Lizzie. Dear Becky and Lizzie.
Yes, we have one letter right now for Dear Becky and Lizzie. We'll let you know tomorrow if we have another. Remember, you could send one today. It won't get here by tomorrow probably, but we can answer it next week. Any questions you have about knitting and crocheting, if you ask about other things, I will say, I don't know.
Send them to Dear Becky and Lizzie at sundragonartandfiber.com, 35 South Broad Street.
She got it.
Brevard, North Carolina, 28712.
We've only been in this new address a year. You know.
I've been filling out a lot of package labels.
It helps, right? Rote memorization.
And if you have a question that you have to have answered tomorrow, you can email me at liz@sundragonartandfiber.com.
Liz, not Lizzie. Liz. Liz at sundragonartandfiber.com. Whole thing written out.
Yeah.
Believe me, you do it enough, you get really good at it.
Okay. It's the same as Rebecca at Sundragon, but if you want the question answered, email me.
I gave her that responsibility. Ha!
See you guys tomorrow.
Bye.